Bum bum ba bum bum ba bum 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 bum. Yes, boys and girls, it is that time of year again. And do I have a whole bunch of promises for you for the Denver Broncos? The Denver Broncos promise that Drew Lock will become the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. The Denver Broncos promise that Teddy Bridgewater will become the man to get us the 9 wins we need to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Wait till this year where the offensive line will look like the New England Patriots. Wait till this year where the defensive line looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tampa Bay combined. Wait till this year when no longer will the Denver Broncos be the most scored upon team or one of the most scored upon teams of the year. We promise. Wait till this year. Devante Williams will become the next Earl Campbell. We promise. Wait till this year. Patrick Surtain will be the best slot corner in the entire NFL. We promise. Wait till this year. Jerry Jeudy won't crawl into his shell when the real hitting starts. We promise. Yes, we make a lot of promises this time of year, and we promise we'll never go back on any of these promises. Promise. Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. Here I am, the old guy, and just said goodbye to Miss Daisy here at the Convalescent Center, and here we have Dungeons and Dragons Master Wizard Colby, who doesn't have his black robes on right now, but maybe later he'll do that.
I'll be watching Chicken Little here soon. So.
Oh, okay. Gonna go and do a little.
Get that Chicken Little on the TV.
Yeah, get some of that Chicken Little.
Yep.
So I'm gonna call this our Hope and Change You Can Believe in Broncos Training Camp Edition. I just want to say that I was thinking about going to the training facility this Monday or Tuesday, albeit I got so much, I'm buried in my own stuff. Also, I'm not really motivated to go through the biosecurity state crap bullshit that they have there, just to go and watch a bunch of guys, having practice.
I wouldn't go.
I'm reading comments. You sent me a video of Sports Illustrated, a local. He did mention something that you said about Locke coming out with a little bit of chip on his shoulder, but I was really more interested in the comments about the perception of what training camp is. And we saw with the Aaron Rodgers situation that people are easily lied to. They'll believe anything. You can sell them the hope and change you can believe in. As long as you say, that the Broncos are going to get Aaron Rodgers, they'll all believe you. Even though we explained why you wouldn't, but that doesn't, logic and reasoning doesn't apply to football fans, I think, across the board. Because right now, every single camp, everybody's going to the Super Bowl. Everybody looks great, and it's no different here. So I want to get into some specifics about players and what possibility maybe coaching and this kind of thing. Just going to give you a quick rundown, and then I'll let you go. What we're looking at here for the show. I want to talk about looking back at the Jordan Phillips. When I asked to get him in, and look at that model versus this corner heavy model at the Broncos. And then ask the question, again, I'm going to keep bringing it up too with fans, is why did Fangio make it a point to bring in Khalil Mack? And why isn't he not able to do that here when this corner heavy? It seems to be a contrast to what he did in with the Bears. Okay, and this, who will be better at locking down tight ends? Zavin Collins, because there was a phone call from Dove Valley to Zavin Collins, or Patrick Surtain. It seems like the Dove Valley has been given marching orders to try to get Surtain to lock down Kelsey, for instance. is the conservative offense narrative really more for Locke to handcuff him than it really is Bridgewater? And with training camp, I'm going to have you add. You're going to go off here pretty soon about training camp. And then I did talk in my Aaron Rodgers video that just got posted about being wrong and being monumentally wrong. Why is it that fans would love to be lied to? We'll probably interlace that with everything we're talking about. And this Broncos running game, I think one thing that both quarterbacks would benefit is a running game. One thing is I'm not sold on Shermer's system, period. But I want to talk about D. Williams, their new running back. Can you coach out? Now, Wiebert showed the video, and of course, thumbs down, because we don't want to look at film. Well, God forbid, because film takes the Band-Aid off all the warts. Okay? We showed Williams repeatedly running into his backs, but can you coach that out? If you get a good if you get a good running back coach and he sees this stuff and he says, "Look, we've got to train you to start pausing. Don't just take off, and we got to have you start looking and seeing the field." Is that possible? And I want to talk too at the end about the ownership situation, lawsuit facts about the lawsuit that they threw out and what that really means. And why does Colby like Tedric Thompson? Colby's going to talk about Tedric Thompson. Probably nobody even knows who this guy is. I'm sure. So anyway, I'm done with my little spiel. Take it away.
So we'll talk about training camp 2021, about the false hopes of draining the swamp. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. Jaguars are promoting that the other day about how good Trevor Lawrence is going to be. Same with the Chiefs that you were bringing up earlier. The gripe I'm having with training camp again is a lot of people are actually believing what they're seeing on the field because they're going against, they're doing 7-on-7 drills with no pads and everything. And I believe with your combat on combat thing, I take more away from the preseason and in the first couple weeks of the season because you're going against different competition. You're not going against the same competition day in and day out at training camp. The thing I've noticed when I've been watching these training camps live, because that's the only way I'm able to get it, is there's a few things. Put in Patrick Surtain in the slot. And I'm having a pretty big issue with that because Patrick Surtain is not a slot corner. He is a boundary corner. I really do think this year they're going to be running a lot of nickel. They're going to be running a lot of nickel and dime personnel more than the base 3-4 defense that Fangio wants to run. I think they're going to be running a lot of nickel and dime because they want Patrick Surtain on the field. They're stressing that a bunch at training camp. I've told you the clips where to go to see this, where they're lining them up. They keep lining them up in the slot. So congratulations on that. Big Fangio has come out time and time again and said that he doesn't look pretty comfortable with Patrick Surtain in the slot. So we could talk about that. You can elaborate on that point. But another thing, this team has no depth. What have we been saying for the past 5? Yeah, exactly. So I'm so shocked. This team has no depth. Every reporter, everybody, my clips, the feel good fans, all that. Oh, the first team defense and offense is looking damn good, but the second team and third team, a little shaky. Yeah. So that's going to show up again this year. We're going to have no depth. So that's the biggest gripe I've had about this whole training camp, about the quarterback competition. We'll get into that later. But yeah, those are the big points I've had a big problem with this 2021 training camp.
Well, it's really hard. Excuse me. It's really hard to put together a video discussion in this because there's so much. Like I said, let's go back and look at the whole quarterback. No, you're not going to get Stafford. No, a thumbs down. I don't want to hear that. No, Rodgers is not signing. This is not happening. How dare you? These people know what they're talking about. Oh, really? Do they? June. June. Mark June on your calendar. No. 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 So what we have to say, it's called falling on deaf ears. I go to the comment section, and these people are convinced they're watching the regular season, and I don't know how you reach people that are that out of touch with reality. So I'm not saying there's going to be some upsides. I'm not saying that that these people are going to be finding some downsides that they weren't ready for. But you can't gauge anything off of. I mean, this is practice. People are going at all kinds of different speeds. They're simulations, is all they are. They're just simulations. They're simulating. So, you said Patrick Surtain in the slot. So let's get into this. What's your gut feeling if you had Zavin Collins trying to take on Kelsey, or if you had, they're both rookies, Surtain taking on Kelsey? Who's going to win that battle? Who's going to get the better of locking down Casey, or at least keeping up with him?
I think that Zavin Collins will be able to, because he can neutralize the middle of the field.
I think that's why the calls went out to him, and I honestly believe those calls were from Vic Fangio.
I do too.
This opens up another question, too, that I've had. When we saw I want to go back to the Jordan Phillips. When I said bring in Jordan Phillips, he's an up-and-coming Khalil Mack. Who? What? Remember? It was literally what? Who? What? Oh, this guy was a literally Khalil Mack up-and-coming. If you could put, other players around him. He goes to Arizona where they're really depleted, so he's, trying to take on the world, but like Von Miller, basically. But here you had Von Miller. That's what I'm saying. You had Chubb. That's why I wanted to bring in Jordan Phillips. The model is what we talked about in our last film, is that penetration up the middle and those good edge guys, putting the pressure on the quarterback. Edge, okay. The push up the middle takes away the first three. Then you got Zavin Collins back. I agree. I don't see Surtain, and everybody will go thumbs down. You don't know what you're talking about again until it happens, right? And again, they'll be so upset. Oh, yeah, guys, we're right again. We hate you. So we saw this model in the Super Bowl. We saw the push up the middle. We saw it wasn't a corner-heavy system that stopped Patrick Mahomes. Granted, his offensive line was disintegrated around him, but the point is made by that. Push got up the middle, right in his face. That's why Kansas City got serious, and they got real help. Now, we don't know that's going to translate. We don't.
To be perfectly honest with you, sorry to interrupt you. To be perfectly honest with you, I love the. Now, I'm going to be called a Chiefs fan, fake Bronco fan here, but, they actually know how to build an NFL team long before Patrick Mahomes arrived. You were one of the first people saying that. But I liked what they did in their offseason. They got Austin Beeline. They got Creed Humphrey to learn under Austin Beeline, who came from the Rams, who's a damn good center. You got Joe Thuney, one of the best guards in football, came from the New England system. And then you got Orlando Brown, one of the top right tackles in the league, that came from Baltimore. You're going to tell me that's not at least a good offensive line? That's going to be better.
The effort the Chiefs made in their offensive line is here, up here. The Broncos, what they've been doing all along is more like about right here. That's the point. That's the takeaway.
Well, I think also the biggest takeaway is what we saw in the Super Bowl. Remember, it's all about quarterbacks. Remember that? Everybody likes to talk about quarterbacks. No, quarterbacks need help too, idiots.
Yeah, and please excuse us for our attitude. It's like we're drowning in a sea of stupidity. I mean, when we say, for instance, like Rodgers isn't going to be here, and this is Stafford. This is just logical stuff. We're not trying to be Debbie Downer. We're just trying to, again, put it like it is. And like I say, we have a core audience that doesn't want to be lied to. As small as they are, the audience is. They don't want the bullshit, and they try to get, we try to give them the straight stuff. That's why they're here. Well, no, and then know that we get a lot of crap for it, and they hate us even more when we're right. So Kansas City really, if you actually just look at what they did, pound for pound, the offensive line is critical, and they know it.
And the Chargers, same thing.
Now, if you really wanted to bring Rodgers in, wouldn't you have done what Kansas City did to start building up an offensive line? Apparently, the Green Bay Packers have one of the best offensive lines in football. Broncos have a PR machine. The Broncos, again, they are a paper tiger. They are a paper tiger, in my opinion. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, because look who we signed, Massey, who,
Other Juwan James 2.0.
A guy that's more or less to get hurt.
I mean, and then Calvin Anderson, from what I've heard, he's struggling out there. Whoa, wow, what a shocker. A guy that I was never high on. For some reason, they have been high on Elijah Wilkinson and Calvin Anderson. I don't know why. Thank goodness Elijah Wilkinson isn't here. But then you have Cameron Fleming, who's, from all accounts, he's playing left tackle, right tackle. He's being a swing tackle, which he needs to be. A guy that I was high on coming in. One of the most underrated signings of the offseason. I've been a big fan of Cameron Fleming. Wasn't good in New York last year, but I could see the upside with him. He's still 27, 28. You could see the upside. Bobby Massey's past his prime. It's a retread again.
Well, that's what Elway. The theme is, even Munchak. You take Munchak out, the theme has been constant. It's been constant. You know what we didn't do, and I didn't put this in show notes because it just dawned on me. What we need to do is we need to really break down, like we did with Fangio and the Bears. We really need to break down Munchak, his offensive lineman acquisitions pre-Broncos.
Yeah, with the Steelers.
With the Steelers, they seem diametrically different than what we got here. But I can't prove it because I haven't really looked into it. It just seems like that on the surface.
I'll look into it.
But you can guarantee they're putting top dogs around Roethlisberger, since that guy is a portion.
Like Flacco.
Yes.
So again, and I think this goes into my video, why Aaron Rodgers will not be here in 2022, is that I just think that offensive line's head is ugly head is going to rear. Glasgow, you paid way too. Why that money could have went to somebody like what?
And you have Moody.
Yes.
A guy I was high on when they drafted him. Same with Quinn Miners. They're going to bury him too.
So you have to ask yourself, where is all this coming? Where's all this coming from? I mean, Glasgow is serviceable with medium. He's mediocre playing mediocre on the off. Yes, it cancels each other out. But when he hits
another overpay.
Way overpaid. And even Tyler Columbus had to admit that. And who else? I think Orlando Franklin also said the same thing too. They can't even deny that. Cushenberry, he's going to be, he better be. Cushenberry, he better be all that, I understand that.
He's getting the first reps, so I think he's going to win it over Miners because they're going to shove him.
I told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, you told me that. Another thing you're right on.
Yeah, I told you that was going to happen. Well, in a way, they kind of have to. He's got a year under his belt. They have to at least, in fairness, give him a shot. But it wasn't a good draft pick with him. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. This offensive line is just paper thin.
Well, the whole team's a paper tiger. And then what did they do? They went. The guy you like he's another corner, right?
Tedric Thompson.
Yeah.
No, he's safety. I love him a lot.
Oh, okay. Because it never, I'm reading this article. I'm like, what? It just says backfield. Can you, as a journalist,
a hybrid?
He's hybrid.
He's a hybrid. He's a safety corner. He can play all over the field. I like him because he has that aspect, and I think that's a Fangio signing because Fangio likes hybrid players.
Yeah, you know,
A guy that'll probably get cut, but a guy that I like that they signed, but he'll probably get cut because they want Chad Stearns and the Johnson kid.
So, you know what's coming. You know that the teams are going to just keep doing what they've been doing. They're going to attack the linebacking section, and they're going to go over the top. Well, we got Darby. Now, Darby's good. He is good. But and Fuller's a little bit over the hill, but they're not going to get help from their safeties. They're just not. The safeties aren't even helping the linebacker. That's the whole point why they're staying put, but they don't even help with that. I was writing you. And I watched film and watched film and watched film. And I honestly cannot tell you what Justin Simmons really does on a day. He'll pluck out a lucky interception by just happen to be at the right, by like a overthrow or a miscue throw. He's always late to the party wherever he is. I'm just saying, when I look at the whole stretch of film, I have to ask, what does this guy do?
I'll tell you what he does. Gets beat over the top consistently.
Well, he doesn't help. He doesn't even help over the top.
And from what I've been watching on the stuff I have is that this guy, Fangio uses him in a way that he didn't use Eddie Jackson and Adrian Amos. And that's the one thing I've noticed. When Justin Simmons is on the field, I feel like that takes away from the speed in the backfield. And you need safeties that have speed and have the instincts. Justin Simmons has I think he has okay instincts, but he doesn't have the requisite makeup speed to make up for the plays that are happening in the backfield. I also think that Fangio protects Justin Simmons because I think he knows that he has a lot of weaknesses as a safety. That's why you don't see him in the backfield a lot of the time. That's why you see him in multiple looks, multiple packages, because I think Fangio's protecting him. I think that Fangio protects the players that he knows are a weakness. He's doing it with Alexander Johnson. He's doing it with Josie Jewell. He can only do the best he can with those type
what
of
he's got.
Is because of what he's got, because those guys, Justin Simmons, I think, is a B- safety. I think Josie Jewell is a D+ linebacker. I think Alexander Johnson on a good day against a really bad team is a C+ linebacker. But you got to sit here and ask yourself, everywhere that Fangio's gone, he's made his safeties better. Look what's happened to Eddie Jackson since he's left. He's hasn't had the same production. Look at Adrian Amos up in Green Bay. Like you said, he had to take a pay cut to keep Aaron Rodgers. Remember, you brought up that article. So it's the requisite scheme that Fangio is implementing that Justin Simmons, I think that Fangio knows that he has weaknesses, so he's protecting him. That's why you see him in multiple packages and looks.
Now, I want to talk about the film I saw with Simmons, and why I had brought this up is because so many times Simmons will be just in his zone behind the linebacking. There will be a go route. He clearly sees this go route. Everybody in the nosebleed section can see this go route. He just watches it go by him, and just stays in that zone. There's nobody even there. No players, and I've seen this over and over and over again. And that's why I said, what is this guy's job?
And doesn't that prove I'm not trying to be cocky here, but doesn't that prove my point that he knows he doesn't have the requisite makeup speed? So when they're going vertical, that he doesn't have the requisite makeup speed to get over there. So that's why he stays in his zone.
Even Jackson will make an effort, but again, albeit late most of the time. But at least he makes an effort.
Yeah. Kareem Jackson, the one thing I do like about Kareem Jackson, and you didn't like Kareem Jackson before. I don't like his coverage ability, but he reminds me of a TJ Ward type player. He puts his heart on the field and he'll hit you. We've seen it. He did it against DeAndre Hopkins. He did it a few times last year. He's willing to hit you. Justin Simmons, on the other hand, he doesn't lay his body out on the line like a safety should, like a Steve Atwater, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu did, a TJ Ward. He doesn't do that. He just like you said, I've noticed that in the film. He just stands there and vertical route. Okay, He's got him.
Yeah, let it go.
And quite frankly, out of all the film I watched, the corner really only got burned like a couple of times in all this film I was watching. They were, in good coverage, but even the best corners covering, if you put that ball over the shoulder, that's the whole idea of the safety, is that when they put the ball over the shoulder, the safety's there to bust that up.
I do have a quick question that we're talking about corners, and I was meaning to ask you this before we got into the safety talk here. Do you think Ronald Darby's more of a slot corner or a boundary corner?
More of a boundary, I would say.
Okay.
Because that's from the film I've watched, is that you get somebody like Hill that takes on a go route. He'll stay stride for stride with him. Now, when Hill does the slot thing, that would mean somebody else would be his responsibility. Surtain.
And see, we're gonna see the same thing with Surtain. He doesn't have the record. I'm stressing people right now before you the thumbs down.
Yeah.
Like I got stressing you right now from the film I've been watching about this guy. And the national media has agreed with my logic. This guy doesn't have the hip fluidity that you need in the National Football League. He doesn't have the requisite makeup speed. He's a great tackler. I believe that he has the fundamental packages to tackle. To me, he's like a Michael Ojemudia. He's like because Michael Ojemudia has the same issues. He doesn't have the requisite makeup speed, and he doesn't have the hip fluidity to turn with certain types of receivers like a Tyreek Hill, a Keenan Allen, a Henry Ruggs, type of those players, and they're going to expose us this year.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. They're going to test him. There's no. I would.
They got him.
I would. That'd be right where I would go. Right where I'd go.
Direction in the slot, because everybody. Oh, he's a great slot corner.
No, I mean you saw the body language. Yeah. Well, this is preseason. We'll gulp all the lies down. Hey, the same people sold him Rodgers would be here by June, right? They sold him that Stafford would. Yeah, he's a shoe-in. Yeah, the same liars.
Here we're going to trade multiple first-round picks. Remember that too.
Yeah, we're the same liars. We'll just keep lying to them because they like to be lied to. They like to be conned. No matter how many times they get shafted up the ass, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them. Just lie to me. That's all that matters. But he is going to be tested.
Oh, absolutely. Like Michael, you saw the struggles that Michael Ojemudia. Fangio had to bench him last year. I honestly believe that Michael Ojemudia is playing out of position. I believe he is a better strong safety than a corner, because I think that he doesn't have the hip. When you have hip fluidity, you're able to turn with receivers. Surtain and Michael Ojemudia don't have that. So if I was Fangio, I'd be putting packages out there that I'd have Michael Ojemudia at strong safety, because we all know how old Kareem Jackson is. He's past his prime. I've been trying to tell people this. And you put him at strong safety. If you keep stuff in front of Michael Ojemudia, you saw it last year. He was able to make plays. He was able to be able to make fumbles happen. He's a great tackler, just like Surtain. It's the same exact problem that we've had. And I messaged you this off script, is that every time that a decent player or whatever, a player that is coming into Denver, they always put them out of position.
Well, if there's somebody at the top that thinks they know football. We got a 90s type of a like I said, it's 90s.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 90s mentality, a 90s model out there. So here's the thing. The Denver Broncos defense was rated 5th in yardage. But they were one of the most, yardage. When you deep dive into that stat, you find out that all year long, offenses had short fields, number one. And it was the problem of, yes, the offense, yes, special teams, but it was also the problem of the defense itself, creating these situations. So what you're going to see, I believe, is a continuation of last year, the way they're going to be attacked. So, but yeah, they're going to be attacked. Are they going to be able to be scored on the same? Now, that's going to be I just see this attack. I just don't see anything really changing. And I think even though I believe in Darby. I believe he's a really good corner. He can't do it all. He's not like Deion Sanders out there. Just look. Well, Deion Sanders never took the slot either. He was your boundary.
Okay, well, let's just elaborate. He's no Chris Harris Jr. in the slot.
Or Louis Wright. Or Chris Harris Jr. No, he's no Chris Harris Jr. in the slot.
He's no Bryce Callahan in the slot. Nobody's talking about this guy, and I understand from the injury history, but I really do think that Bryce Callahan did some good things last year. That was one player in the cornerback room I actually was impressed by when he was on the field. He has to say, what's that?
They desperately need, and they know it. They desperately need somebody in the slot. They desperately need, or you need to get like a Zavin Collins who can plug that middle up, which they have no interest in, because again, that's today's football. But God forbid we'll play.
Well, they have interest in a Tedric Thompson, who I forgot to elaborate on this guy. Let me explain to you why I like this guy. I think that Tedric Thompson is a very damn good safety because he comes from the Pete Carroll system in Seattle. I believe he's a local kid. He played in Colorado. I don't know if it was Colorado State or the Buffs, but that doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, like, the reason why I like Tedric Thompson is because, number one, you can go watch it, requisite makeup speed. He has the heart. He has the ability to read out, and he has better instincts than a Justin Simmons, in my personal opinion. If he has the opportunity, but he won't get it here in Denver, I think he will be cut. I think that he is a willing tackler. I think that he is able to be taught. I think that he wants to be taught. I think he wants to be a good player. I might be wrong on that, but that's the type of things I've seen. He has great footwork when it comes to certain packages when they're running in the middle of the field. I think he tries to keep a lot of things in front of him. I think that he has the mindset and the willingness to do a lot of the things that Justin Simmons just doesn't have the ability to do.
I want to talk about everybody's. I was listening to listening to sports talk radio. It's real difficult. There's so much bullshit. I mean, it's the truth, the truth, right?
Miami, you guys are doing a good job.
And all the people that want to lap up the bullshit. The combination of the two. He shames you for calling them out on Rodgers, but you go back and listen to him over and over again.
You're not a constructive criticism fan. You're a hypocritical fan if you go against us.
Well, people did call him out, and then they shamed him for it. You're like, no, you need to be called out. So they're laying it on. You don't get just the nuts and bolts. You get propaganda. So they were propagandizing the running back, D. Williams.
Devante Williams. Woo!
Well, he's going to be Herschel Walker. You just watch.
Oh, Lord.
And but my question is this. I will say that when you watch it there, you saw the problems. You pointed out the problems where he doesn't have the vision. He runs into the back of the players. But you also see the upside where he seems to have the motor as a good running back. Now, my question is, with a good coaching staff, used to be the Broncos. The Broncos used to have really good running back coaching staff. With a good coaching staff, could you get him to settle down and be patient, and hopefully that will create him to be a better on-field visionary? Is it possible?
That's hard for me to say right now because I have to see the games that he's going to play in. I'm not going to, like you said, what did we say coming, or what have you said? Combat and combat. I have to see what he does in the preseason. People like to say, "Oh, I hate the preseason." I actually like the preseason because I get to see, the technique work, the stuff like that a lot of people don't like to look at. I like looking at that stuff. But that being said, I just want to see what he could do against other competition. I don't want to hear what Cecil Lammy's talking to me about. I don't want to hear about that, how he's doing so good in training camp on 7-on-7 with no pads and shells. I don't want to hear that. Like you said, I want to see what he can do against grown men in the National Football League before I make a judgment on that.
When their contracts are on the line and they're coming after you.
Yep.
Yeah. So, combat, the only way to gauge combat is with combat. That's the only way. You see, having played before and knowing practice and knowing camps and all this stuff, I'm telling you, anybody that says they can gauge anything from a camp is insane. It's like telling you that they can walk through a wall. It's without a door. It's insane because there's so many different things going on. I mean, why would you even? Maybe you can gauge if for instance, one thing, the things that you could maybe pick up is like Cortland Sutton. Excuse me. Von Miller, Cortland Sutton. Are they kind of hobbling around? Are they nursing a little bit? Those kind of things. But we're still a long way off. Even that doesn't mean anything just for that. Everybody's. People are trying to get technical information. People are these people are under contract, so they don't want to get hurt. This isn't like high school or college. Or you're really, you can let it loose. They don't really want to. Some people are going at a higher speed. Some people are going at a slower speed. There's so many different things going on. It's insane to say that you can see anything, until we see it, until we see the games.
I think one point I want to bring up real quick, and we can get into the later points. I think one point I want to bring up is I did look at some game film on Mike Boone. I was very critical of the move just because of the Philip Lindsay shoving him out the door. One thing I do like about Mike Boone is I think that he's kind of Philip Lindsay-esque. I'm going to retract my statement on I didn't like the move because I think thinking about it from a point of view what George Paton is trying to do, I think what George Paton is trying to do is he's trying to add more speed. And I think he's trying to add more depth to the running back room because I think that Royce Freeman's out. I compared Javonte to Royce Freeman, but I'm not going to make a full evaluation on that till combat versus combat in the preseason and in the games. But when I look back at the games that Mike Boone played in, I think his vision, it's like a Michael Carter, who I was very high on coming out of North Carolina. I think his vision is excellent. He can catch the football out of the backfield. He can run routes. He's able to I think he's a willingness pass blocker. And I want to ask you this. As a running back, me personally, I want a guy that is a willingness pass blocker, like a No-Shaw Marino, like a Troy Buckhalter back in the day, like an Anderson and a Ball back in the early 2000s. Guys like that are willingness pass blockers to help out to just help out this offense in general.
That's if Shermer doesn't send him off to pasture.
Yeah. As offense coordinator, I'm not going to expect anything more than that.
But okay, here we go. Now, well, let's get into this. So we're talking about running backs. Is that you've been really reacting off camera about the death of Drew Lock, or how this organization is poisoning this guy, and I already knew this. That I knew this before he got drafted. You're not going to be patient. The people that told you that, the same people that told you that Aaron Rodgers was going to be here, said that trust us. That we got to be patient with Drew Lock. This is like a 3 to 4 year plan with that. Right? I believe that. Sell me some more beachfront property, right? So I'm not shocked. Okay, I knew this was coming before he even got drafted. But this goes to the running game. This calls on the running game. I think somebody like Locke, who's in the wrong system. I think you send him to San Francisco, you send him to the Ravens, these type of systems. I think that he does much better. But I still think, and same, and with the Bridgewater, I think both quarterbacks need a running game. I think I was shocked when I got called out for saying Locke had a 70% completion rate in the last 6 games. One thing I found out by researching that particular stat in the behalf of one of the commenters, on the behalf of that person, that in the last San Diego game, or LA Chargers, Shermer had Locke throw 47 times. That's insane. That's on Shermer. That's totally on Shermer. He shouldn't have been throwing the ball 47 times. I'm sorry. That should have been much more balanced attack.
And that's something that me and you were talking a bunch this past season about how they couldn't stick to a system. And that just brings up this point more and more again with Shermer, who STR's starting to put this out there, and they were doing it last year when they're he's becoming more inventive. He's becoming more inventive as an offensive coordinator. No, from the track record of Pat Shermer, he's going to do the same old shit. His 3 wide receiver sets. He won't get tight ends involved. That's why I don't think Noah Fant's going to be. He's going to have a breakout year. They're starting to put that out there too. Noah Fant is a better player when he's under the West Coast Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan system.
Yes.
We know this.
Yes.
We know this. If you don't know that, you're an idiot, in my opinion.
Well, they won't talk about that. They won't talk about John Elway changing these systems up.
Well, they'll talk about how Noah Fant's going to have a great breakout season as Pat Shermer's their offensive coordinator. And we've brought this up time and time again. Me and you have brought this up time and time again, where what happened after the Atlanta game? They started pulling the guard from what I was trying to put out there. They finally did it after, week 10? You waited that long just to do that.
It was week 10, yeah. It was. We've been talking about it most of the season.
Yes, and to bring up your completion percentage, I was watching that back and forth debate. I thought it was a really good debate with you and that commenter. I think the one thing that he chooses to not bring up is Drew Lock after the Miami game going forward. I think that he was technically as a processor, as a getting better with his footwork. I think that he was getting better. He was getting more comfortable in the offense because, like we said, and I understand it's Shermer, and I understand it, and I don't like it. I hated the hire, but it's what we got, and we have to stick with it. But I think that what you saw after the Miami game was he was technically getting better at reading the field, going through his first, second, and third reads. I think that you saw a more comfortable quarterback. I think that you saw a guy that was his footwork was starting to get better. I think that was and that's why I'm saying he's laser focused this offseason. I think that's a direct correlation on that. He wants to get better. He wants to get taught. He's not a Paxton Lynch. He's not all these other guys. But why I'm so pissed off about it is because I didn't want to believe it, because I like Drew Lock. I think he has a lot of talent. I think he can be a really good quarterback in this league. And I'm surprised I'm talking about quarterback.
If he's in the right system and he's developed.
Yeah, exactly. If he is in the right system to succeed. That's why I'm so pissed off. I'm not pissed off about this quarterback conversation. I have to disagree with you with your Teddy Bridgewater conservative thing. I think that's more towards Teddy Bridgewater, because that's why they brought him in, because they think they have a top 5 defense, so they don't want a quarterback turning the ball over twice a game. Yet Teddy Bridgewater had the same interception ratio almost as Drew Lock last year.
Well, I'll talk to you about what I found out by deep diving in this stat on behalf of the commenter. Said I'm calling you out, and Bridgewater basically fell off a cliff at the second half of the season. Had he not scored 12 points, they would have shut him out after the first 2 games of the second half. There's and now the Teddy Bridgewater fan out there wanted to ignore that. Well, you can't just look at Drew Lock if you can't look at your guy. And here's the thing. I actually think that Bridgewater on the right team, and I don't believe this is the right team, okay? The right situation, the right team. I believe an organization really knows how to build around, okay? I think Bridgewater could be an Alex Smith type of a guy. I think he could be your Alex Smith, right? No. What's that?
You can win with that. You don't need an Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, so we're not Teddy Bridgewater bashers out there, just so you know. We're the only ones, we're the only ones saying that neither one of these quarterbacks have a prayer with the mindset that's going on. And you know what? This is the deal. If this thing implodes, here's the thing. I believe this is my theory. Is they'll start Locke, and they want to start him so they can eventually get rid of him. Say, oh look, he didn't do, but they figure maybe if Locke can win 3 games before Pittsburgh and the Ravens, before that those 2 games. If Teddy Bridgewater wins 6 games after that, how many games is that? Locke 3, Bridgewater 6. How many games? How many wins? Excuse me. How many wins is that?
9.
That's 9 wins. I'm telling you, this organization goal is 9 wins. That way, no talk of firing Fangio. No talk of firing Pat Shurmur. Aaron Rodgers, you think the Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid was like just exploding into the stratosphere this offseason. Wait till next offseason. It's going to be unlike anything you've seen. And I put out a video saying why I believe he's not going to show up. You can thumbs down me like you did before when we turned out to be right. But if this thing goes south and they don't get their 9 wins, Fangio, it'll all be his fault, right? It'll all be his fault. Shurmur, you can kiss him goodbye, for sure.
Oh, please.
You can like Cry Me a River, right?
Yeah, Cry Me a River. I think one point I want to go back to the Teddy Bridgewater thing just real quick. You brought up in the right situation. Why did he go 5-6-0 when he was in New Orleans? You had a great surrounding core around that player. You had guys like an Armstead at left tackle, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk, a guy I wanted over Garrett Bowles, guys like that, and you had guys around him, Alvin Kamara, skill position players that helped him out. And this is the problem I have with Teddy Bridgewater, and I'm going to continue to bring it up. If you're 3rd and 15, you think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to get you that first down on his own? You must be out of your mind. This guy doesn't have the requisite arm strength. He is a great processor reading the field. I will give him that. But he's skittish in the pocket, in my opinion. He has a lot of disadvantages, but he also has some advantages to his game, like an Alex Smith type player. That he doesn't have the regular arm strength. He's skittish in the pocket, stuff like that. That you want to critique a player, that's how you're going to critique Teddy Bridgewater. But I think on the right team, like in New Orleans, you would have a 6-0 run, a 7-0 run, stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a friend that's a good friend of mine. He's in New Orleans. He's from New Orleans, but he lives in Louisiana. He's a big Saints fan. And he was telling me that Bridgewater, and I'd say the same thing goes for Locke. He didn't speak about Locke. Bridgewater needs a good running game. But what he told me is that one thing New Orleans does have, one thing they understood, because it got them in trouble, was they make sure they have the top-notch offensive line. That's what he told me. He said Bridgewater benefited from a top-notch offensive line, and he needs, and I believe Locke does the same thing, they both need a good running game. I think that...
Can I ask you this? Do you think that's with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, or do you think that's with the majority of quarterbacks?
The majority of quarterbacks who aren't Tom Brady, where, Tom Brady wants to throw the ball 50 times.
Yeah, Drew. That stuff benefited Drew Brees too, and also you have Sean Payton as a co-offense. You have Sean Payton, one of the best offensive minds out there, anyway. So he can draw up plays to make it easier for the quarterback, unlike Pat Shurmur.
Well, the coach Andy Reid in Kansas City, he knows he's got to have some kind of a running game even for Patrick Mahomes. He knows that. Tom Brady went years that his offensive line wasn't at their best. He needed a running game too. When that
Peyton Manning needed the exact same thing. That's how he got to his 2-3 Super Bowls. He had a good running game and a solid offensive line in front of him.
So I'm going to be very interested to see how the Broncos in combat. Now, I don't care about training camp. It doesn't mean anything. I want to know in combat what improvements they did to become a good running team. You know, when this team struggled in the running game, was a 4th and 1, a 3rd and 1, they couldn't convert a 1 yard. They couldn't get a 1 yard conversion. Multiple times they couldn't do that. I documented that all last year.
But that's why we brought in Devante Williams and Melvin Gordon as his top 10 running back, according to STR.
Well, according to STR, they're ready to ship off Gordon. STR's already put a gold jacket on Devante Williams. They've already put a gold jacket on him.
Freeman 2.0.
Freeman 2.0.
His skill set is so similar to Royce Freeman.
I have to see if they can coach that.
I'm not, but that was my. You want to talk about player comps? That was my comp coming out for Javonte, was a Royce Freeman 2.0, because he like, I've went over this. You can see the thumbs down video of how much hate we got for that, or how much hate I got for it. You know, it feels like the whole Philip Lindsay, Royce Freeman. Oh, they were pushing Royce Freeman. He's the next CJ.
Yeah,
Anderson.
they were.
He's the next CJ Anderson. He's the next Noshawn Marino. You know, they're doing that with Javonte.
Yeah, no, I have to see. But you showed the film. The film did speak. It showed him running into the back of his guys. This has been brought up by other people. Not us, just us. Other people have brought him up. And when comparing him especially to his teammate Carter, who doesn't have that problem.
Plus excellent vision.
Excellent vision compared. Now,
I would love to see Mike Boone get more opportunities, because I think he has a Michael Carter-esque style of Philip Lindsay style.
Boone could end up surprise. That could be the surprise. He could be a surprise where.
Yes.
Nobody saw D. Williams except for you.
Oh, he put on special teams. Mike Boone.
Well, if this plays out, you know, if Boone or if Williams is running into his own blockers and getting, you know, no yardage, you know, once NFL caliber defenders are getting after him, then Boone may get a chance, and that all in history, writes itself. But, you know, that's one of those things that could. I'm not making predictions, but that's something that could happen. Yeah.
Eat crow if Javonte Williams proves me wrong, but I honestly do not see. I mean, I'm going to wait till combat, but I will eat crow, and I'll eat crow on Mike Boone if the rules do happen to be Javonte Williams is this really good run. I will eat crow. I will eat it.
Well, I think that's going to depend on the offensive line.
True.
You know,
with a Javonte Williams and Royce Freeman style, I think that they need good offensive lines. But with a Mike Boone and a Philip Lindsay, they were able to help set up their offensive linemen. That's the difference.
But because of their patience and their vision.
Yep. Because you saw with Gordon last year, he kept running into his blockers, and then he listened to us and said, hey, be patient. Be like Philip Lindsay.
Week 10. It seemed like everything was week 10, didn't it?
10 onward. I don't know how that long.
Yeah, that's what I think is kind of funny. So yeah. So, like I said, I most likely will not be at Dove Valley. It's just too much to. It's just too much. You know, last time I was at Dove Valley Last time I actually watched the Broncos was when they were in Greeley, And you could just go in there. You could go in at any time. It wasn't a big deal. You could go in any time. No, there wasn't, back when we were actually free to do things.
Well, I used to watch it when Manning was like Manning's first year there. I wanted to go see Manning.
You said that. Yeah, I didn't check that out. Like I said, for me, I don't get really much out of practice.
You know, with that whole vaccine thing, Rick Dennison left the league, and I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of Rick Dennison.
Well, yeah, you should be able to say no. That he shouldn't be forced out. That's wrong on many levels. That's really wrong on many levels. Well, here's the thing too. The NFL has went insane, saying that if somebody who's non-vaccinated posts positive, well, there's no short supply of vaccinated people posting positive for COVID.
The people that are getting apparently COVID again are the vaccinated people.
Well, it's called breakthrough cases.
Yes.
And the CDC, there were so many of them, the CDC decided they were going to stop even counting it. So, yeah, it's an insane policy. It's politics. It's not even really health. And then I think they're just, cutting, and who knows? You could even use that to cheat the system. Well, we don't want Team A to go. We will have Team B. Oh, look, you guys had a guy that tested positive. So it's a slippery slope. That's pulling it mildly. Now I want to talk about the ownership situation.
I actually have a lot to say.
Now, STR was putting out major disinformation on this. Yeah, Brittany Boland. So they were saying by this being thrown out, this automatically means that the trust, okay, and this part of it is true. So there's a grain of truth mixed in with bullshit. The trust can give this to Brittany Boland, and of course they will do that. This does not stop the throwing out the lawsuit does not stop Beth Boland Wallace saying our side is not going to allow Brittany Boland. Anybody within the if the trust went to Brittany Boland or went to Beth Boland Wallace and said, nope, we're going to give Beth Boland Wallace the go ahead. That doesn't stop Brittany and their side saying, no, this isn't going to work. All the lawsuit said was who gets to determine who sells the team. Under Pat Boland's agreement in this is that when it comes to selling to the siblings getting owners, they all have to agree on that. After that, then it goes to the trust that goes to find an owner. So they can't just give it to Brittany Boland without Beth Boland Wallace saying, yes, you can have it, and that is not going to happen.
No.
You heard the press conference with Ellis. Give us a rundown on that.
Oh, he spilled the beans.
What was that?
Oh, he said he kept bringing up Brittany Boland. He was doing the best he can to protect her because he's on their side, and I understood where Joe Ellis was going with it. But I think that from his mindset and from what I could understand from the press conference is that they want to sell the team. I mean,
they have to sell the team. It's not that they want to.
They have to sell it. They know the NFL is breathing down their neck. Here's the other thing. They know Beth Boland Wallace is going to not let Brittany and the wife, the mother.
Ellis, I think he said 2 weeks prior to this press conference, he went and met Roger Goodell. For what knows reasons, I know they're good friends, but it could have been also ownership situation.
Of course it was.
So this team is going to get sold. We were right again. So thumbs down us.
Well, no, we were right that it's not going to be Brittany Boland.
Well, it's going to get sold, yes, but yeah.
But overall, yes, you're right that it's going to be sold. We of course we were the first, but we always
thumbs down.
Yeah, I know. It's pathetic. So absolutely. So that's all I have for this round.
That's all I have for this round too.
Yeah, and I did a part on Aaron Rodgers and us being 100% spot on. And we needed to say that. We needed to, for as much crap that we take, we need to, when it comes to something so monumental as that, being correct on where everybody, even on the national, was wrong, but we got it right. We need to say something about that.
305 subscribers, and my Dungeons and Dragons is just waiting for me in the other room here.
Down in the basement.
Yeah,
down in the basement. Yeah. And I got to go back and see my 98-year-old girlfriend in the convalescent center because, I'm just an old, crotchety, grumpy guy.
She's got to calm me down. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thumbs down. Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.